everybody. Welcome. It is a Tuesday. I hope everybody had a good weekend. I'm actually waiting on twins. It feels like we have our signals crossed. So I'm waiting on twins to join. He may be at another link. So I'm going to give it some time, but I hope everybody had a good weekend. I hope the fathers had a good Father's Day weekend and all that stuff. When twins join, I will ask him how his Father's Day weekend went. But yeah, I don't know what's going on. I'm messaging him now to make sure that he is at the right link. But hello. We'll wait for more people to come into this so we can chat. This is the final episode of season 5. So I have done 5 seasons of the show, 25 episodes a season. So I am actually on my 125th episode. Wow. Damn. When I started the show, God, almost 3 years ago, I didn't know where it would take me, but here I am on the 125th episode. Again, I'm just going to double check here with twins to see where the heck he at. Let me copy this to make sure he can still get it. I don't know what is going on, but I'm going to see when Twins Inc. Join us so we can have this conversation. Relationship Chronicles. I'm trying to decide if I will move the Relationship Chronicles into season 6, which will clearly start next Tuesday. So if you have any topic ideas, please let me know what topics you want to talk about. There's clearly always so much. There's so much that I see on social media that makes me shake my head that I'm like, do I want to tackle this? Do I not want to tackle this? Like, what's going on? Social media is a hell of a drug. It really is. And it has become the biggest drug I feel in relationships now, in terms of people wanting to follow what they see on social media to determine how to have a good or successful relationship. So we wanted to talk about that today. Whenever Twins joins me, I also have the link in the comment section. So if you're watching, the link is in the comment section. If you want to come on and talk to us about, again, a relationship, if you have a relationship question, if you have a dating story, a success, a disaster, if you want to give me some advice, I don't know, I'll take any advice I can get. But any of that, feel free to join the show. I am still waiting on Twins to see where the heck he's at. I realize I do not like doing the show alone because it's just me feeling like sometimes I'm talking to my damn self and you guys are like, Shiva, we don't want to hear any more of you. And so, and so I enjoy having a co-host. Here he is. Looky here. Here we go. Let me add him to the stage. As over here, talking to myself.
How's it going?
It's going. How are you?
I'm good. Sorry for the delay, ladies and gentlemen.
All good. How was your Father's Day?
Father's Day is just another day for us men.
That cannot. I'm gonna have to object.
Too special for us. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you saw my post on IG. You know, I posted a video where a guy walked into a grocery store and he had balloons and everything for Mother's Day, and he went to the same grocery store on Father's Day and there was nothing in there. But that's a whole nother topic, a whole nother day. But I'm blessed. I'm alive. I was with my kids, all as well.
That's
salute to my fathers out there.
I salute to the fathers. I did something sweet for my special someone in my life for Father's Day.
Okay. What you did?
I shipped his gift to him. So I ordered, so they have these forever roses. They're supposed to last like 1 to 3 years is what they say. So I bought him forever roses in one of his favorite colors, which is blue. And then he is a writer like myself. And so I got him this kind of this journal that's kind of like a leather bind to it that kind of closes, and he loved it. Because I feel like fathers should be celebrated. I mean, I celebrate birthdays. I celebrate, like, I think fathers should be celebrated. And I think that's the problem. And I know people are like, oh, you got a man roses? Yeah, because there is a stat that says that Black men, the first time you get roses generally is when you die.
Facts.
And I refuse for any man in my life to ever that be the first time they ever get flowers. And so if there's an opportunity for me to give my man flowers while he is alive, I'm going to do so.
Look at you. Ladies, take note.
I try. Father, like being a father is a hard job, right? Like as someone who grew up with a very present father, as someone who has a daughter who has a very present father, I gave a shout out to my daughter's father. I do that every year. And he sent me just a lovely message thanking me. Like I put him in my story. Like I had my own father on my timeline. And then I had my daughter's father in my stories, and there was a bunch of different pictures of him and her growing up throughout the years that he had put together. And I was like, thank you for my blessing. Like I think as ladies, we have to remember that without these men, we don't have these children, right? And as much as we can bond over these children, we love our children. It's hold on. This is my oven because as usual, I'm cooking. Give me one second. Okay. All right. Come on. Turn that off.
Like she just said, without us, there is no Father's Day or Mother's Day.
There's not a bit.
It takes two to tango. And I don't care about what you say about your significant other. At one point, you was in love. So I don't want to hear none of that bull crap.
No, and that's the reality, right? Like at the end of the day, it is one of those things. And also, you carry the XY chromosome. So you decide, your sperm determines if we even get a boy or a girl. So we carry the child.
Right.
Birth the child, which is difficult, but you do have a role to play. And I would not want to be a father. I cherish being a mother, because if that's how fathers feel, that's just awful. If that's how Black men feel, period. And I think that's Black fathers, because you see white fathers and Asian fathers and so forth being celebrated on. Where was I headed to? No, I was headed to my girlfriend's house in downtown Toronto on the Saturday, which was before Father's Day, and I saw a bunch of people, like you could tell that they were, younger children going off to meet their fathers. I was walking by patios and fathers were there, and they were Caucasoid, and they were being celebrated. I wasn't really out on Father's Day that much because it's a sore spot for me since my father passed away. But I can tell you the day before, people were out in droves, but the Caucasoids were out celebrating the fathers.
So. Okay. Nothing wrong with that at all.
Right? Like, so I hope you have a wonderful Father's Day next year. But you get to be with children, so I guess that's important.
Hey, as long as I'm here for the next Father's Days, that's all that matters.
That's all that matters. How was your trip? I know you took a little trip. How was your trip?
Yeah, vacation was good. I need another vacation. Yeah, I took the kids. We went to Myrtle Beach last week, so that's why I wasn't here last week, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, but I'm here now.
Oh.
Yeah, good time.
I actually was because I was back to talking to myself, and I was like, oh my god! I actually either started top of the show. I was like, I wish Twins was here. I don't realize that I sometimes be talking to myself. So
it's all good.
You were definitely missed.
I appreciate it. Well, I'm back. I'm here. I'm happy to be here. Let's get it.
Let's get it. So as before you came on, I was saying this is the end of season 5. I cannot believe I've done 125 episodes. Wow. This is my 125th episode since I started this show back in September 2021. And I'm proud of myself because the show has clearly gone through some changes. We're entering season 6. I'm trying to determine, we'll have a talk about if we continue kind of this relationship chronicles into season 6, but definitely going to be some exciting things going into season 6. But to end maybe the final episode of Relationship Chronicles, I wanted to talk about this idea of finding the one. And what does the one look like? What characteristics does the one have? Like, what are those things that when you were saying, like, I'm looking for the one?
Ooh, that's a
What is
tough.
the one? The one. Have you ever thought like, I'm looking for the one. What does the one have? Mister, what up? How you
Well,
doing? You've been missed. Mister wasn't around last week when I was here by myself.
maybe he was on vacation too.
Maybe he was on vacation. We'll take that. But no, like we hear that term, the one, and we always say, I want to meet the one, and I'll know when the one comes. Do men ever think to themselves like, I want to meet the one?
Yes, yes, we do. We do. I mean, when I met my ex-wife, uh, I had that same energy. I was like, "Oh yeah, she's the one," right?
Hmm.
But
What about her?
that was based on a young 28, well 20, yeah 27, 27-year-old twins at that time frame. So and those things that I was looking for at that time frame, she hit. So I'm like, okay, no kids, got her own car, got a job. Okay, she's the one.
I'm sorry, I'm not laughing.
So that's how.
It
That's
could
how.
hold on. I'm actually bringing this closer. I realize how far this was. Is that really all it took for her to be the one? Was no kids, a car, and what, she could cook or had a job? She had a
Yeah,
job.
job. She was cute, all that. But that was the young me, right? The young, not unexperienced young man at that time frame.
Okay.
So
Now,
now,
now today, as a 40-year-old grown, been there, done that man, do you still believe that there could be the one out there?
it's funny that you say that. Based on this season 5, and we talked about relationships, and we talked about a lot of great topics. It's really hard now to tell, to meet someone and to know right away if they're that one. We'll have to go through the communication part, right?
Mm-hmm.
As we talked about in previous episode, we got to go through the needs versus wants, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you see, I'm recapping the season
Yeah,
5.
that's the recap. Like I'm
Doing
like,
that.
it's there. No, it's okay.
Like those are the biggest two things that really stuck with me throughout season 5 is the communication and the needs versus want. Like I think I posted the need versus want like 3 times last week because that message was very important. Because I really had to sit back and think like, okay, do I want this person or do I need this person?
Mm,
So,
mm.
it's like I'm really now stepping back and taking a different look at the relationship or communications that I have with these ladies and see. So right now, to say that is she the one, any woman is the one. Ooh, there's a lot that to go into it now before I can say she's the one. Versus the young 28-year-old me looking at a certain thing. Oh yeah, she's the one. That's it. Let me put a ring on her, get her off the market. She's mine. Now I was like, no, let's peel back the layers. Let's do a little deep dive because I didn't do a deep dive before. I'm doing a deep dive now going forward. Communication, need versus one.
So for those of you who missed that conversation, it was actually a great conversation. Go back, I think it's a couple of episodes. I mean, just go back and watch all the episodes. But the point I was talking about is the understanding the difference between your needs and your wants. And I talked about, I had been chased by my wants, and I was ignoring my needs to the detriment of myself, because it's not a detriment necessarily to the other person. It's to me because I have this desire to be in a relationship, but I was so focused on some of the superficial things that were on my list, and the longevity wasn't there, and to me, a year, 2, 3 year relationship isn't longevity. To me, longevity is till death do us part, right? Like if that still exists, which I won't lie, there are parts of me that question, is that forever realistic anymore? Is it a realistic expectation that I can find someone and do the rest of my life with them, which is the rest of my forever on this earth? Or are we just borrowing time sometimes when we're in these relationships?
Mm,
It's a sad thought for me personally.
yeah. And I'll say this, it's in whew, For men and women, it's definitely different on both sides. It's different, right? Like,
Elaborate.
so, women, you have ladies, you have a timetable, right? Especially if you want kids. Now, I know in your situation, you don't want kids, so that doesn't matter. But with other women who don't have kids, who want kids, it's a timetable, right? And then as far as men, um, there's not really a timetable for us. We have until we can't do anything no more, honestly, right?
Absolutely. Daddy was one of those. Love you, Daddy. Rest in peace.
As men, we don't really have to run and jump into a relationship. At the end of the day, I mean, for example, I live in Atlanta, Georgia, and it's really 10-1 down here when it comes to men.
Yeah, sure is.
So, as a guy, down here in Atlanta, I mean, I'll tell you like this: looking for love in Atlanta, Georgia, that's gonna be tough for you. I wouldn't do it. Now, you can find love somewhere else and then move down here. Cool. But to come down here and think you're gonna meet somebody, it is 10-1. So, well, I'm saying that men have a lot of options. So I'll stop right there.
No, and you're right. Like, and I think the late great Kevin Samuels used to there were certain cities that he would recommend that if women were single and looking for a relationship, where they should go, and cities where they should not go. Atlanta was one of the cities he said absolutely do not go, while Houston was one of the cities he said, yeah, you should go to Houston because there's a lot of eligible men and so forth. And I agree, as someone who has visited Atlanta numerous times, and has been on both the LBG, the alphabet scene, and the heterosexual scene, having gone to the gay clubs with my gay best friend. I feel for women in Atlanta, because I remember going to one of these clubs and seeing men that you would have never guessed in a million years. I'm talking 6'5", dark skin or caramel complexion, muscled, everything. And I was like, oh my God, what am I, like, openly gay at Bulldogs? That's the name of the club that we would go to. And we were shook it, because you don't see this in Toronto. And I was like, how do women in this city even date when, like, when I say we were there was 5 women and our gay bestie, and we were just like, what? It was crazy. It was actually one of the craziest experiences. And so I feel for the women in Atlanta. The men, you guys, you have a smorgasbord of women, but I would also say wrap it up, because it also, from my understanding, has the highest rate of,
Yep.
The
STDs, HIV, all that. Yep.
Yeah.
Have to wrap it up.
Yeah. So, I mean, and Mr.'s agreeing with you, says facts, time is on men's side. And so that's why, as a woman, I sometimes question, as I'm out there, and I would like to think that I can have the one. I would like to think that I can meet someone, we can connect through the communication we talked about, through going through that, wants versus need, and I can find this one that can be my forever. But there's also the other side that says to me, but am I on borrowed time? Understanding, to both you and Mr.'s point, that time is more on your side than it is on mine.
I would like to add another layer as far as the
Oh,
men
Lord.
have more time, right? So, for example, right, when you use a case study, right? But you're what, 44?
Yes.
So at 44, right, you have to still make sure you maintain yourself, right? You have to work out.
The gym was just at the gym.
Right. You get to work out, look right, take care of yourself, because you're in competition with all the young 20-year-old, young 30-year-old women, right? See, with men, yes, we got to stay in shape, but at the end of the day, as long as our bank account's in shape, we can still get whatever we want at the end of the day, right? As long as we can look presentable, because at the end of the day, every man's not gonna have the 6-pack. We're not gonna be 6'5". We don't got all the sixes. No, I don't like all the sixes, devil, whatever. But anyway, all I'm saying that we don't have the pressure that you ladies have. That's why That's why like makeup industry, the hair industry, the nail industry is making millions of dollars off y'all because your ladies are
Yeah,
all competing with each other to find that guy.
you're right.
And there's not enough men out there for every woman. If every man married a woman in the world, there will still be leftover women.
Yep. You listen, I made that very same point last week on last week's show. I said at the end of the day, I've been having conversations with men, and I think a lot of women believe that we have more options than we do, and we have a lot more time that we do. And this is why, again, one of the biggest lessons I want people to always, especially women, to take away from the show is the difference between attention versus intention. I get a lot of attention, right? I mean, I just have to stand up and you'd understand why. I don't get a lot of men who are intentional about being in a relationship with me. And I think sometimes as women, especially when we're slightly more attractive than others, even though now with social media and filters, women are getting likes who are, um, and thinking that they also have the options. But anyways, we get these ideas in our mind that if we get one shiny bright package, we can always get a shinier better package. And it's like we're holding out for that better package, not recognizing the difference between the attention versus intention factor. And we screw ourselves, right? Like we sometimes shoot ourselves in the foot because we're looking for this ideal perfect the one, and the ideal perfect the one doesn't actually exist, right? It's is he the one who meets all of your needs with as much as your wants as you can get, right? So looking at that list, and that was, the last time we did the dating advice segment, I think we both hit on the same point, is what is your list, what is on your list. And I talked about, and on your list, the needs versus the wants, right? Separating that. Just because it's something that you might want, it doesn't mean it's something that you need for your life. And I won't lie, like I do go back to this. If sometimes I wonder if I'm just borrowing time when I'm in a relationship. Am I just, despite I think I'm a wonderful woman. I think I am actually an awesome partner. I think I'm a great friend. I think I'm a great mother. I think I have great attributes that are assets to a man. I don't think I bring a lot of liabilities to a man's life, but even with all of those things, understanding just basic economics in supply and demand, to your point, the men that I end up with today, do I have forever with him, or am I on borrowed time with him? And I think maybe, I don't know if men think the same way that we sometimes do. About that. Do you ever even think about that? Like, am I on borrowed time with this woman? And I mean, in some ways you don't, because you're the one who determines where the relationship goes.
That is a fact. And we'll know right away. I mean, I hate to say this, but most men know right away if you're someone that, you know what, she may be the one. We'll know that right away. We'll know that right away. And most men know
Let
will
me go
know.
pick up my phone and find out. Did you know?
Like like after at least I'll say after at least maybe 1 or 2 weeks of good conversation with each other, we'll know if is she just gonna be a fun time, or is she gonna be for the long time, right?
Look
And
at me texting. I'm actually texting right now. Bitch,
no,
what's
don't
the
put on
line?
the spot. Don't do that. Don't do that. All I'm saying is that we know, like you said, we pick and choose, right? And one thing you said last week, which was very phenomenal, right? Very phenomenal, is that you said, I take the time when I'm out there dating, I'm actually studying the men that I'm talking to. Not me talking to, but what the needs of what the man wants, right? And just to kind of piggyback off that, ladies, if you want the man to choose you to be the one, listen to what he says. Find out what he wants. Like, it's cool that you're beautiful, you educated, you all that. Is that what he's looking for? Now, granted, yes, The look is good. The looks, the first thing any man, most men, I'm never speaking in absolute, so and most men, the looks is going to get the conversation started regardless. So you can kind of take that off the board as far as why he's talking to you. Because if he was ugly, he wouldn't talk to you, right? I'm
Fact.
just saying, I mean, there's some good heart, ugly women, whatever, but you gotta talk to them a while and get to know them. What I'm saying initially, when you meet somebody, it's the look, either damn that dress or how she look, boom. So what I'm saying, that looks part, take it off the table. But once you start having that communication with that man, you know, and he's telling you things, either his past or what he's looking for, his expectation. Listen to what he's saying. Listen to what he wants. Don't be like, oh, well, I have this, I have that. He needs to understand this is who I am. You'll never get the one. You'll never get that man like, oh yeah, she's the one. If you come with that energy, you need to study the man you want. And if he's someone that you like, you need to listen and try to figure out what he wants. And I don't keep repeating myself. That's
No,
it right there.
listen, drops mic. You know what? Because you remember the last episode we did, I was telling you I met someone and I felt like, got off the phone with him and felt like I met my husband, and we're clearly still talking and engaging and all of that stuff. But he's actually, I think he might be watching, so I don't want to say too much unless he wants to come on. If you want to come on, click the link in the bio, babe. But in the comments, I should say. But I think it's funny because one of the things when we were talking, he said to me, and it was a funny joke, but he was like, damn, you've got great marketing skills. And it was with me just like we were having certain conversations and there were certain things that I was saying. He was like, damn, you got great marketing skills, like sold, right? And it was, but he didn't, I don't think he realized this, and he'll realize now, I actually take what he tells me and I repeat it back in my own words, right? Because I am listening, right? The reason he got the Father's Day gift he did is because I was listening to what he said and understanding some of the wants and the needs that he had, and knowing that like no one ever really does anything for him for Father's Day. And so the moment I heard that, I was like, I don't want you to ever feel like somebody doesn't have your back. I got you. And so, I thought about certain things that would mean something to him, specifically to him. It wasn't just let me find some random Father's Day gift on Amazon and package something together. It was specifically for him, because at the end of the day, we are auditioning for a part, aren't we? Isn't this the whole point of dating and relationships? Like, I have to compete against other women, especially when a man is a quality man. Of course, I'm competing against other women, and it's not a game. So let's just be clear. It's not about me playing a game, but if I'm going to show up, I'm showing up as the best self. I happen to just actually be this woman. You've been with me since the beginning of the show, and you heard the person in my previous relationship talk about me. Like, that was from his mouth. I've been this woman. And I think a lot of women are not willing to find the one by competing with others because they don't feel as if that's what they need to do, because that's him. To his point, to your point, they're just like, I'm pretty, or I have these accolades, and I have these things. But I think one of the mistakes that women make is that they feel like the same criteria that they're using to choose a partner is the same criteria that men are using to choose, and it's not at all. At all. And I think this is the issue that they have when they come on some of these other shows, not our show, that would never happen on our show. Our show keeps it real. But when they come on some of these other shows and they're talking about, oh, because I make six figures, a man has to make six figures. Because I am educated, a man has to be educated. And they list all of those things, and they're trying to like measure up, and a man has to do slightly better than me because all those things. And I have talked to men who have made 6 and 7 figures, and quite frankly, they don't give two shits about most of those things. They want to know, does this woman fit into my life? Is she going to be the type of woman that if I bring her into a room with my colleagues, how is she going to navigate a room with me? Like, there's certain things that they're looking for, and Never once are they thinking she also needs to have a master's or a PhD or be a hustler or makes it. It's not the same criteria. And as when women start understanding that, we'll make better choices in our mates.
I totally agree. And I, you know, because I'm raising a daughter as well, right? There's nothing wrong with having your accolades that you have done, right? Going to school. I mean, these are things as an adult you should be doing anyway, right? Okay, you went to school, you graduated.
No,
Good.
right.
That's what you're supposed to do, right?
Right.
You're working a job, you're very successful. Good. That's what you're supposed to do, right? Like
Right.
those things that you're doing, you're supposed to do. So those can't be like accolades you bring to the table as far as communication or why a guy should choose you out of all the other women, right? Like, no, it doesn't work that way. And like you just stated, we don't care. We really don't care.
Yeah.
Me and you talk about this many times. I've been on many dates. I've talked to many women. I've never asked them, how much money do you make?
Ever.
I don't think I want to know. You got a job? Okay, cool. You know, that's great. You got a job. I ain't care how much it was. You got a job. Cool. That's check mark. Next question. I wasn't like, oh, okay, where you work at? How long you been there? What's your long-term goal? Like that part, I don't care as the man. As the man, I don't care that because I'm doing my thing to be sure I can be that provider, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So I mean, I think ladies need to hear this. If you want to be married, you want to be with that one guy, you got to put away those accolades away. It's cool to have them, but some things are just a part of being an adult, and you don't get kudos for being an adult. And yeah, well, men do it well because men are providers. So let's stop right there. If you look at everything from the Bible or history, whatever, men has always been programmed to be a provider and a protector. That's if you take everything away from from what's required of being a man, being a provider and protector is our basic needs.
That's something. Yeah, Mr. Mister is back with the bullshit, and I love it. I missed you, Mr. Mister. So Mr. Mister said, I tie my sneakers every day and brush my teeth every day, so I deserve a Victoria's Secret model. Ladies, that's actually how we sound to men.
That's how exactly.
That's how we sound. And this sounds ridiculous. I think every woman who watches this show, watches the replay, watches the clip, because this will be a clip.
Don't
right?
take it down. Keep it up for a second.
Keep it up. Right? Like it is a ridiculous thing because this is what we sound like when we are on the social media platform, coming on Beyonce and Blue Ivy's Good Internet and just saying some ridiculous thing. Because of this, I somehow deserve this, and that's not accurate. I do have a clip that I want to play that I think is an important clip that I shared with twins this week. And it's a gentleman basically talking about the almost ideal prototype of a woman for a man. So I'm gonna take down Mr. Mister's comment just for 1 second, and I'm going to play this clip. Please tell me I uploaded. I did, and here we go.
Co-founders split up all the time. CEO, CMO, COO split up all the time. You know one pair that typically never splits up? The CEO and his secretary.
Yes.
He will ride with that woman.
Yes.
If he go to Apple, if he go to Amazon, if he go to... Now, is she anywhere on the depth chart of the company close to him? No. But there is and also in a lot of companies, like, you're not getting a meeting on his calendar if you're not good with Shirley. Shirley know his kids' insulin medications. Shirley know they soccer practice. Shirley know him better than his wife. Now, I think if women who are seeking men of caliber, if they took on the persona of secretary as opposed to co-founder, co-boss, things will work out. Because the other thing with Shirley is she knows she's the secretary.
Yeah.
She's not trying to be his equal. Sometimes she might even be able to talk to him in a way that the CMO can't talk to him.
Yeah.
But she knows that, like, she makes the same as the janitor.
Yeah.
You know, but he gonna take care.
Must say they take care of their secretary.
She gonna be taking. It don't matter. She make $40,000 a year. She's gonna have everything she wants.
Yeah.
He might the house she's living in might be a house he bought. Now again, I think that unfortunately, because of a lot of how things have played out in our community, A lot of our women are unwilling to or incapable of surrendering.
I wish we had said what we were unwilling or incapable of. But I mean, I think I know your thoughts. But your thoughts on that clip, and gentlemen in the chat, I love your thoughts as well.
Well, like you said, let's start with the caliber of man, right? Let's start there, because some people are like, I ain't doing that. Oh, wait, stop. This is only for a certain type of caliber man that you're looking for. Okay, this ain't for everybody. This ain't for everybody. But what he's saying is absolutely right. I worked for a Fortune 500 company, whatever how you say that, for over 13 plus years, right? And this one manager, or of course he had many titles, so manager, vice president, all over. But everywhere he went, he took the same secretary with him. So what he's saying is absolutely correct. You can't get you can't get nothing done if you ain't cool with Shirley.
Yeah.
Shirley knows everything. And like he said, Shirley say certain things to him that another CFO or whatever couldn't say to him. That is, everything he's saying is absolutely right. And ladies, don't take it as, oh, I'm not slaving to no man. You have to understand, this man is a caliber man, and this guy's going to be able to provide you a lifestyle where you may don't have to work. You can go on vacations. You can do whatever you want. Okay, the freedom. Like you got to understand, if you want that guy who has a 6 figures plus and give you everything you want to do, he's going to be a hard worker. He's going to be busy, right? But at the same time, you will not lack anything at all.
Here's the thing, I think people need to recognize that there is going to be a difference between the 5-figure, 6-figure, 7-figure, and even 8-figure man in terms of what they want. I used to date a 7-figure man, and I will tell you, to that point, his secretary would sometimes reach out to me to get my schedule for dates. There was one time we were supposed to go on a trip, and he was trying to plan it with her because she had to check his schedule. And then she came back and said, where we wanted to go, we couldn't go because his insurance didn't allow him to go to that place, right? Because he, as the owner of this company, he has insurance on him. And the stuff that he was trying to plan, she came back to me and said, Toshiba, his insurance won't allow this because there was turmoil in that place. And so therefore we're going to have to switch and blah, blah, blah. And then, COVID ended up becoming like a bigger thing. So we didn't end up going on the trip because this was during COVID. But like, it was to that point, like that woman turned around and told him, no, you and Toshiba cannot go here because I checked your insurance. And I was like, God damn. Like she wanted to know my schedule to align with his schedule. And I was like, this woman knows more about him than anyone. And if I want to make sure that that's the role I have in his life, I have to study him as well, which goes back to the clip that you talked about from last week, where I put out about, you are supposed to study the man you want. His needs, his wants, his desires, his habits, what are his goals, how can you contribute to those goals? All of those things are really important, right? Like, all of those things are really important. And I think we often feel as if we can find the one by putting in little to no work. So Twin says, another twin. So Twin says, us men have to really ask ourselves, are we capable to live up to the expectation of being the man that a woman will follow? Self-reflection is everything. Do men think about that?
That's a good one.
You got him stumped. You're never stumped.
But that's a good one. I mean, I want to say yes, right, by default, but because I mean, at the end of the day, I know there's a lot of asshole men out there, right? So so it's hard to say like yes, but I know that's a good question. That's a good question. But see, you can kind of weed those things out when we have that communication involved, right? So both the man and woman, right, need to have a good foundation and communication with each other, especially if they're planning to go that route, like long-term marriage, whatever it may be. And if there's some things that he's moving and you don't like, you need to bring that up now. Like, don't settle because, okay, he bought you a new car, so I'm gonna settle him being an a-hole or not being the good leader that I need to be. Like, I let things slide because he takes me out, he buy me nice things. So
we do that.
right. You see, now you and it's cool at first, right? But after a while, it's gonna get tiring, and you'll get over it, and then later on, it's gonna be a problem. And the thing is this: as a man, we don't change, we don't flip flop. So my thing is that as a man, if I'm doing something all this time, I don't want to hear 10 years from now talking about, oh, you've been doing this forever, and now you bring this up to me. I'm like, I'm not going to change. This is who I always been. Why all of a sudden now it's a problem? Because you got fed up over it. In your head, you only had 50 million arguments about it, but nothing ever came out your mouth. So I'm thinking everything's cool. I'm still moving the same way I've been moving, but you be mad. I don't know why you mad, because you don't communicate. That's why communication is key. But that's a really good question there, Twin.
So I'm actually going to respond to that question in a different way. I think the first thing a man, to the point of the question, should ask, is he living up to his own expectations? That is the first thing, because I feel like if a man isn't living up to his own expectations that he set for himself, I think sometimes there are some insecurities that might be in that man who, and it shows up differently. Like, I feel like I've met men who aren't on the path that they really want to be, and their insecurities show up very differently with me. And I can't follow a man that's not on his own path. He's not followed. If I ask you what your goals and your aspirations and all of that stuff is, and I'm looking at the life that you're living, are you either living that life or are you making steps to get to that life? Because if you're not making steps to get to that life and you're not living up to your own expectation, why am I following you? You're not even following your own plan.
Okay. So
you know what I'm saying?
So you kind of really answered my question, because I was thinking about, like, how would he know that he's not living to expectation? But you kind of said it by saying that he's not living to his goal. So that means that you guys, or he told you this is his long-term goal or plan that you plan to do, right? And then, of course, through communication, you'll know if he's either on route or off route.
Yeah,
right?
I have a lot of questions. I'm a question person. Like, I ask 65 million questions, and my daddy said if I don't ask questions, I don't get answers. And so I want to know your goals and your aspirations and all of those things, because for me, I want to see, is that aligned with my own goals and aspiration? Do I have skill sets that can help you to further your goals and aspiration? Because that's what a helpmate does, right? Like, I look at every relationship I'm in as I am supposed to be a helpmate. And I want to know, am I in a position to be able to help you with these goals and aspirations? Do these goals and aspirations align? Is it something that, to your point, 10 years down from the line, if you get that place, is that really where I want to be, right? And if it's not, like, I need to know these things right in the beginning before I invest any more of this precious 44-year-old time, tick, tick, tick away. And I'm just like, this is not really for me. And I think that's the part of it. Like, I think for me, the one is a man who is going for his goals and going for his dreams and putting a plan in place. And that's absolutely a man that I can follow. 100,000%. I will follow him to the ends of the earth, because I see that he's putting in the time, the effort, whatever he needs to do to get to that. And he doesn't feel as if, like, I hate people complain about every reason why they can't achieve something, right? Like, every reason I can't do this because of X, or there's always an excuse. And as a woman, that's a turn off for me personally. So right away, like, that man is X off my list. But a man who has a problem, sees a solution, and takes the steps to execute to get to the end goal, bring it on. Just saying. But yeah, so going back to, again, 40-something-year-old you, we're going to go back to that thing because we kind of left off. 40-something-year-old you saying the one. You basically said that there's some almost hoops that a woman, I'm kind of paraphrasing a bit, but there's some hoops. There's some things that this woman now has to overcome, and it isn't just the basic level question. So what does that look like for you as an eligible bachelor for women? What are the criteria that a woman would need to hit to ever feel as if she's that category of the one? Is it a feeling? Is it something she says? Is it something she does? Like, what is it?
So at this age, at this point, 42 plus, I mean, it's more of action, right? A lot of people, I mean, by 47 years old, you can talk a good game now, right? You can say a lot of beautiful things. I'm ready to be that submissive woman and all that good stuff. Why? You're asking, womp, Charlie Brown. That's how that go now. Now it's like, I have to see you in action, right? The action is what I'm basing it on now, right? You can tell me what you're going to do, but when I see you in action, then I'll know, like, okay, she's the real deal. Oh, she's talking a good game. So, like, yeah. So, dating is probably, I probably will do more dating than I did versus when I was younger, right? And not just dating, like doing things, right? Going out, being in certain places, just to see how she handles herself as a woman, right?
Ooh.
In public, or the way she carries herself. I'm looking at everything: how she dresses when she's with me, how she dresses when she's not with me, how she interact with other people when I'm around, right? Like, I don't want to say too much because people might be listening, getting cheap.
You don't want to give out all the secrets.
But like, for example, right? So it's a pet peeve with me, right? If we're on a date and we're getting food, right, and we go to a restaurant, right, and you order something, I order something, my food comes back good, no complaints at all, whatever. But then something on your place not right or whatever, right? I sit back and see how you handle that situation. Are you being rude to the waitress? How are you talking to them? It's just like, because my thing is this: if something is wrong with the food and you send it back, more than likely I'm not eating it at that point. I just ain't. I worked in the restaurant business for a long time. I know how stuff goes, whatever. And once again, it's really based on how you interact. If you're being rude to the person who, let's say, you ask for medium well, but it comes back well done, right? And then she made sure she wrote down that it was supposed to be medium well, but it came back well. But you cussing her out like she did it.
Oh no, that's cool.
And I get it. You a little upset, whatever. But at the same time, you're embarrassing me, right? Because number one, it ain't that deep, right? My opinion.
Do that, not to cut you, but do women? Have you ever been in a place where a woman acts like that? Maybe not on a date with you. Have you ever seen, like, in person?
Yeah, in person. And that tells me a whole story.
Yeah,
because if you can cuss somebody out, be rude to somebody like that you don't know, how you gonna treat me when you get mad at me?
That part.
Or another example, when I watch you when you with your kids, I say how you talk to your kids. Or if you have a boy, I really pay attention. How does she talk to her son? Because if you talk to your son any type of way, that's let me know when you get upset, you're gonna talk to me anyway.
Facts. And Mr. agrees with you. The way a person treats other people when they're upset is the way they're going to treat you when they're upset with you. And that's facts. I've always believed that, because I actually look for the same things when I am dating a new man, is how he treats other people who cannot benefit him. Right? I think for me, that's also the key. It's interesting to see when you introduce someone to someone who can benefit them in some way. They're going to treat that person differently than a person who they think cannot benefit them. And to me, I don't care if you're the janitor or the CEO, everyone plays a critical role in the structure of an organization. I don't care if you're the hostess of the restaurant or the owner of the restaurant, you both play a role in ensuring that that restaurant is successful. And so I look at those things as well, because to that point, what if there's conflict within our relationship? What's your conflict resolution skills? Because that actually what you just talked about is conflict resolution. So you have an issue, you don't like your food. Somehow maybe there was a miscommunication in the kitchen, someone turned away. Like, how are you able to communicate that effectively so that no one feels as if like they're attacked, right? Like, and I actually had to return food the other day for the first time in my 20 something years of going to restaurants. I had to return a meal because it just was not good. And I remember my girlfriend called over our server, and his name was Tristan. I remembered his name, and she was like, Tristan, Toshiba is not really liking her food. And he was like, what is it? And I said, Tristan, honestly, it's just not that good. This was kind of my expectation when I ordered this. I said, you know what, like, I'm fine to eat it, but I just want you to make a note to the chef, like in the back, that like, it said it had truffle in it, and I compared it to another restaurant, and I was like, when I go to this particular restaurant, I kind of have this expectation. I'm like, I'm fine to eat it, but I just want to give it. And he was like, no, absolutely, Shiba, I would never allow you to eat something that you don't enjoy. And he, kindly took it back, and it brought me something else. And it was just such a great interaction. I think I gave him like a 25% tip after all was said and done, because the way he handled it, but it's also the way I handled him. It wasn't like, hey, you, what up? Like, I'm having a problem over here. Like, like, it wasn't any of that. It was very much just, I'm giving you my feedback because I think it could actually help someone else. And I happened to be really close to the kitchen as well. And so I could see after that, they were kind of looking just to make sure that I enjoyed my meal. And then like the manager came over to double check. There were like different steps that they took, and I would absolutely go back to that place again. But those things do matter. Imagine if I was on a date, or my friends would have been embarrassed if that's even the type of attitude I had. And I think this is why I say, like, dating is an audition. It is and every step is an audition. The date is an audition to determine whether there's another date. Once you go on several dates, it's an audition to determine if you're going to make it to the next level of exclusive, right? Once you're exclusive, it's determined if you're going to make it to the next level of fiance. Once you get to the fiance, do you actually graduate to the wife? Because I think a lot of people assume just because you got the ring on the finger, and hello, I used to have one myself, means that you graduate to the next level of the wife. And it's not it's a promise. A ring is a promise to marry. It isn't we are definitely marrying. And there are a lot of women who don't realize that every step of the way, it's a level up. It's a promotion to gain his last name.
I totally agree.
It's big facts. So, I'd love to hear what the gentleman in Mr. I know you probably won't come on, Twin, if you want to come on. The link is in the comment section. I'd love to know what your men think. You can put it in the comment, and you can come on the show and let us know, like, what are those things that you look for if you were to say, like, this woman is the one? What makes her the one? Because I think there's a lot of women who would like to know that trade secret, and Twins wasn't giving out too much, but you gave out enough for women to understand that, again, they're being evaluated. Like, just like how we evaluate you. And this is just, but like, I keep always saying, like, relationships don't have to be as complicated as they're now made to be. I think the complication becomes because we are getting our feelings intertwined with another person. And heartbreak is a terrible thing. Heartbreak is a terrible thing for you to experience. But to me, I would rather experience 10 heartbreaks than never to have experienced any at all, because I can only imagine going through a life where you're not loved or felt that emotion of love, because I think it's also such a powerful thing. And to go through life never having blended your life with another person, and had another person on your team, like that's not the life that I would want to live for myself. But I also understand the challenges that you face when you have the question I have. Am I just borrowing time in a man's life until something better comes along? I think there's a lot of women who date out of that mindset and would never actually admit it, but their actions, they start having certain actions that are actually self-sabotaging their relationships, and they don't even recognize it. I don't know if you guys have ever experienced that, where a woman starts acting a certain way and you're like, what the F? Like, what is going on? And I think sometimes it's a subconscious self-sabotage, because we do often question whether we measure up to this ideal of what our men are looking for, especially if that's the men that you want. Like, we screw ourselves all the time with the men that we want. The men that we don't want, it's easy breezy. We don't really want them. Like, we could date a man that we don't really want for 2 years and not really have much conflict, because to your point, he pays for everything. He's bought my car. He gets on my trip. He can go away for 3 weeks. I don't care. Go have fun, because again, I'm driving around in the car and you're paying for everything, so I really don't care. But a man that you care about, that man could be broke. That man could be broke, and you start questioning, am I it? Am I the one? Am I doing everything to secure that spot in his life? Because most of us do know it's a competition. Like, we're not dumb. We just don't want to admit it. I question it. Sucky. And it sucks. It's a mind fuck. I mean, I'm close enough in the show I can swear. Far enough in the show I can swear. It's a mind fuck. It is a mind fuck to question, am I a placeholder in this man's life? Especially if you can get a newer, shinier, younger version of myself. And I wish more women my age would admit that we have that concern. Ladies, you can do it. I am Toshiba, and I am admitting that I have a concern whether or not I am a placeholder in my man's life, because one day he could get a younger, shinier version of me, despite all of the great things that I tick off on the list, right? Now, I don't want that to be a concern that drives me in the relationship, but I can admit that it's been a concern. But acknowledging it also means that I'm ahead of the game, because I need to ensure that I don't display characteristics or do anything to drive that man away by, just disrupting the relationship. If that makes sense.
Makes sense. Did you see the comment that Twin posted?
What did he put?
It's right before Misters.
Oh.
Understand.
Okay, look at me missing stuff. I'm waiting for it to pop on the TV in front of me. Where is y'all stance in the current state of Black community in dating and people creating everlasting families? Do you want to start?
So when you say everlasting families, are we referring to like broken homes?
That's what I think. Are we talking nuclear family? You get together, you have children, and you stay together until you die. Is that an everlasting family, or could it be a blended family? You meet someone, you get together, you blend your families, and you do this family thing. Some clarity. I'm going to wait to see if he clarifies that. I'm going to go to Mr. Mister's point here. I'm going to wait for it to pop up on my TV screen. That will be right in front of me. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go. The way a person, okay. Okay, I'd already saw that. I don't know how I missed that other one. So Twin, let me know what you mean by everlasting families. Now, assuming you're talking about the nuclear family, I would love to see more of that, despite the fact that I didn't come from one, nor did I create one. Having my child out of wedlock and clearly not being with her father, this is what this show promotes. We want to change the conversation around Black relationships. We do understand that things happen. And what I will say, as someone who's been married and divorced, that I would not say that people should stay together for kids. I think that actually causes more harm to the children than good. Is when you try to force a relationship for the sake of the children. But I think more people should put thought into who they decide to do life with and definitely have children with. And if I could have it my way, I can tell you that for my daughter, I have definitely pushed marriage before children, if that's the way she wants to go. But my daughter cannot show up in this house at 22, 23 years old, talking about, here is my boyfriend and I am pregnant. Me and her father would lose our absolute shits. Mm. We would. Because she's supposed to be better than us, right? Like, she's supposed to do things better than us. Like, we've made all the sacrifices for her to be better than us. And when she turned 21 and she wasn't pregnant, that was a celebration. When she graduated university and she wasn't pregnant, because I was pregnant when I graduated university with her, me and her father high-fived at her graduation, said, like, we did not fuck her up. Great job. And so to get her this far, for her to then turn around and be like, hey, I'm 29 and here's my boyfriend and I'm going to have a baby. Like, this is not why I worked so hard and made all the sacrifices for. So that's my comment on that. Twins?
I'm still waiting for the clarifying on that one.
Okay, so let me get to Mr. had another comment, unless I am no, it is a new comment. Okay. Ladies, she is the one when she can hold herself accountable, communicate in a healthy manner without interrupting, raising her voice, and listening to understand, not just to respond. You know that Mr. is a fan of this show, because that's what I talk about all the time. The difference between listening to respond and listening to understand, because that is the whole premise of fuck your feelings. So what are your thoughts on maybe I'm going to let that stay up for a little bit. What are your thoughts about what Mr. said?
Man, he hit on 3 points there. Self-accountability, right? Interrupting, right? We're talking, and also the listen to respond. Like, those are huge, and also maybe for healthy manner. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, all that, he hit all those, because at the end of the day, man, we don't want to fight you, right? I'm at the age now. I'm over trying to fight. You know what I'm saying? If we having a conversation, and I understand, couples are going to argue. There's argument, disagreement. You're an individual. I'm an individual. I have my own mind. You have your own mind. We're trying to mash together and make it one, right? So there's always going to be conflict, right? It's how you handle the situation is the most important thing, right? Are you going to hold yourself accountable for what's happening instead of deflecting? Meaning that if I bring something up to you, I don't want to hear, oh, but you do it too. You do it too. You do it too. I'm like, because now we're getting nothing done. Because if I bring this up and you throwing back at me saying I'm doing it, but I'm the one that brought it up. If you had a problem with it, why didn't you bring it up? Right. And also on the way, and then you're not listening. You're trying to respond right away without hearing me what I'm trying to say to get to the point. Let's talk it out. Yeah, so trust me, I know exactly what he's saying right here.
Well, what you gentlemen just said is the reason this show was created so many years ago, right? The whole premise of the concept of fuck your feelings was born out of a conversation in my previous relationship, where he was expressing something to me, and not even knowing that I was doing it, I was responding and invalidating what he was saying by bringing in my feelings while he was in the middle of expressing his. And he looked down at me and basically told me to fuck my feelings. And there'll be more of, that in the book. The book will be coming out this November. Watch out for Fuck Your Feelings, The Journey to Imperfect Love. I had to do that plot, but we then sat down and created the concept of this show based on the idea that your partner should be allowed a space to express their feelings without you invalidating them by bringing in your feelings about a situation. Because you were listening, I may have lost Twins, but I hope he comes back. Okay, perfect. You are listening so that you can understand, not to respond, and you can tackle what's going on with that situation, as opposed to saying, hey, Twins, I don't like that you said that you hurt my feelings, and now the focus is on me as opposed to what he was originally expressing. So I love that, and I think more ladies need to understand that. And I'm hoping when the book comes out, people will buy it in droves, because there are going to be some real gems in that book, stuff that we've talked about on the show that I need women to understand, because I think we would do much better in relationships if we stopped listening to women and listen to men. Too many of us take advice from women that are contradictory to what men are saying. And if you're a single woman looking to date a single man, listening to another single woman just does not make any sense.
Totally agree. I'm still here. My camera's overheating.
All good. He's still here, everybody. I love how your little logo shows up and shit. Like, look at you. So professional.
Hey, you gotta be ready.
Love that for you. No, but I think, and so right now I don't want your camera to overheat. We'll end the show shortly, but I think that, thank you, Mr. for that. I think that was a key point. And I always, I had a clip, about a year ago where I talked about making accountability sexy again. Because so many of us are not holding ourselves accountable or the women in our lives accountable. I can say that I have been thoroughly blessed with the group of women I'm able to call my best friends and my sisters, because we are no holds bar, holding each other accountable, because at the end of the day, we want the best for each other. And as the kids say, we're not going to live in a land of Delulu, right? Like, we are not having our fellow sister, fellow bestie out there living life delusional. But again, I see so many women validating just foolishness on the internet. Women do silly things, and the comments are, the women are like, oh yeah, girl, you got this. And the men are like, no. And I'm thinking, the women come back and they're like, yeah, like, thank you, girl, for all of this. And I'm like, but you don't want to fuck her. Like, that's not what you're going for. Like, why are you putting so much focus on what the women are saying? Because they validate whatever this situation or your experience, instead of listening to the men. They call the men haters and all of these different things. But I'm like, but you came on a show looking for a quality men. The men is not something that a quality man would want. And instead of listening to that and taking that information and utilizing that information to create yourself into that woman, you then are cursing the men out and high-fiving the women in the comments who are validating your bullshit. I think it's just it's an interesting dynamic.
And one thing I want to say is that, which is, I'm glad that you said this, is that you have women that hold you accountable. You have a sisterhood, right? And I think that's all important on both sides, with men and women. Like, you should be you should have someone who's going to keep you accountable. And I am not referring to your mom and dad. You should have your friends like, tap you on the shoulder. Don't say that. You were wrong, or you're right. You know what I'm saying? We all need that, right? And we look at, and I'm just using an example. For example, we think about Jada Pinkett. Jada Pinkett doesn't have a sisterhood out there. There's no one tapping her on the shoulder talking about, girl, you and women have problems inside your home. That's not something that the world needs to know, right? The world don't need to know that you're still in love with Tupac, who's been dead over 15, 20 plus years now, and you're currently married to a famous man, and his mental health is something, you know what I'm saying, and vice versa. Like there need to be people holding people accountable, right? Men should be holding men accountable, and women should be holding women accountable. But so when you said that you had that for you, I was like clapping my hands over here. You know, you can't see me, but I'm like, hallelujah. Because there's not too many women out there I know that has a sisterhood that's going to hold her accountable. And that's why a lot of women now go online to say anything and no one's says nothing. Everybody's like, yeah, girl, you tell them, girl, I agree. But ain't no one saying, no, you're wrong. Because then they get challenged as, oh, you're a pick me. You understand what I'm saying?
I've been called that. You know, I've been called that many times. I've been called a pick me so many times that I was like, I want to be chosen. So keep picking me, men. Like that is not an insult to me. I'm like, am I going to be upset that I keep getting chosen? Like that is just a ridiculous thing. But I think what happens is, and this is my last point before we give our dating advice for the night, but I think what I'm finding that is a lot of women don't have real friendships, right? And so, or they put themselves in a position where when they have someone in their life that disagrees with their position, they just cut that person off. Now, I'm gonna cut you off, right? And I have been blessed that, you know, my longest friendship, even though we don't talk all the time, was when I was 5 years old, and I'm 44, so 39 years. That woman I know would drop anything for me. And then my core group of friends, we're going on almost 30 years. Almost 30 years of friendship. We've seen each other through good, bad, everything in between. We've had to be in positions where we get mad at each other and we have an intervention. And one of us is mad at the other two will sit down and be like, we have to have an intervention and get us back at the table and talk things through. And the reality is your friendships are actually it's almost like a trial of a potential romantic relationship, right? Like how you are with your girlfriends is a trial for how you will be in a relationship. And if you get pissed off with your friends and you cut them off, or you're mad at them just because they disagree with you, that's how you're going to be in a relationship. But if it's like, hey, you know what, girl, I was wrong. I'm sorry. I took a moment, like my bad, whatever. Or you have a group of other friends who are like, it's not going to go down like this. Like, y'all bitches are wrong. We're going to come together and work this out. And that's my group of friends. Then you also, as a man, you also recognize that they're going to do the same when I'm wrong in a relationship with you. Like my girlfriends, if I go and I tell them, listen, my man did X, Y, and Z, they're going to be like, girl, we love you, but what did you do?
That part.
You just told us everything he did. Okay, great. We like noted, right? Like it's there. Now tell us what you did.
Zach, and I feel that, you know, that we're talking about this, I feel like now, I usually don't say Phil, but I agree that I probably would still be married now if my ex-wife had a sisterhood like that. What you just said, right? Okay, I understand what twins ain't doing, but what are you doing, right? I don't think she had that. Now I had that because a lot of my boys was like, hold on, Wayne, and we went through X, Y, Z, like, are you sure? And they went through X, Y, Z, X, Y, Z, X, Y, Z, you know what I mean? And it's like, so all I'm saying that I can guarantee she didn't have that.
And it matters. And I think for men, and just I had to put this up, but Mr. Mister said pick versus unpicked. I love that. Pick me versus unpicked. Yeah, I definitely will be a pick me because I'm not trying to be unpicked. But I think a lot of women, let me go back. Men need to also look out for that, and this will be, I'm going to go straight into my dating advice for men for the night. Watch the circle that the woman that you are interested in. Watch how she speaks about her friends. When you're around that group of women, see how they interact. When they think you're not listening, because sometimes the conversation when we know you're listening versus when we think you're not listening can be very different. Watch how those women interact with their significant others. Watch how that woman talks about her best friends. If all she brings you is gossip about them, what the fuck? because these are the women that she claims
Mm-hmm.
are her best friends. But if she's telling you about their accolades and their things and just like a champion for them and so forth, that's what she's going to be like for you. She's going to be a champion for you. She's going to scream to the mountaintop about all the amazing things, because again, the relationship that we have with our best friends as women is a trial for how we should be in relationships with men. And it was someone, like a man in my life, broke that down to me once, and I was like, I never thought about it. And he was like, I listened to how you talk about your best friend. I've seen how you interact with your best friend. I've even heard how they ride for you. Like, that's amazing. You're gonna make an amazing wife because you've had this 20+ year trial, right, of a relationship with these core women in your life, and you guys hold each other, to both you and Mr.'s point, accountable. So that is my dating advice, man. You're not just looking at the woman that you think is the one, you're also taking a look at the people that she has chosen. Because again, like I always say, we choose who we bring in our lives. So you're looking at the women that she's chosen to bring in her life and be a part of her core circle. Because let's not forget, to your point, twins, when the two of you get married, those are the people who influence her. They're the ones who have her ear, and they're the ones that she goes to. And that's the advice she's going to follow. And it's the reality, because we go to our support systems when we're doing things. So if it's always like, this bitch is doing this and I can't believe, and she's cheating on her man, and like, that's all you're hearing, that woman is likely not the one for you. That's my dating advice. Twins, what's yours?
My dating advice will be to the ladies is that, as I stated earlier in the conversation, is that you want to really listen to what the man wants, not what you bring to the table or what you got going on as far as how you look and the degree. Find out what makes the man happy that you want to be with. Find out find out how you can be his peace. I'm not just referring to the sex, which does help, but not always the sex. I'm just saying, find out how you can be his peace. Find out how you can be an add-on to him, right? Somewhere where he falls short at, you don't treat it as he don't now wash his own clothes. Do that for him and don't nag about it. You know what I'm saying? It could be that small. I'm just giving an example. I'm not saying that is the issue. I'm just saying that whatever he lacks at, because those men that you want who got it going on and want to spoil you, they're busy and they got a lot going on. And sometimes they can't do the small, simple thing because they be burnt out. But that's where you come in and provide that other portion to complete it. So that's what I have. Listen to what he needs or what he wants. And trust me, he's going to take care of you as well. It's not really doubt. Or what about me? Trust me, that's a man is wired to, provide for his woman, and wherever she needs to make her happy, we're going to do it regardless. We may whine about it, but we're going to do it.
Y'all, that is true. Y'all may whine about it, but you definitely, I have stories in my life. Y'all men definitely show up when we need you. So I'm actually going to have Mr. Make the last point of the night. But before I read that, I'm going to say we are running into season 6. Season 6 starts next week. We would love for our audience to be more interactive with the show. So every week we are putting the link to join the show in the comment section. You can have your camera off. I understand Twins and I come camera ready. But if you don't feel comfortable being on camera, you can definitely have your camera off. We prefer for it to be on, but you can have your camera on. We love for it to be more interactive. We want to hear, what are the dilemmas that you're dealing with? What are the successes? What are all of that in relationships? Let us know if there are topics that you want to discuss. This is supposed to be an interactive show because we are here to change the conversation around Black relationships, and we cannot do that without you. So leave me either a comment in the comment section or email me at fyftheshow@gmail.com, or you can just click on the link in the week and jump into the show. So last comment of the night from Mr. is dating advice. Being a good judge of character is an essential life skill. get good at assessing the difference between good people and bad people who needs work and who will never change. That's a good one.
Yes, it is. Salute to you, Minister.
Absolutely salute to you. That there's a lot of us that could use that could use that advice. In other words, don't be desperate. Like, in other words, don't be so desperate to being in a relationship that you overlook the things that you should not. That's how I'm interpreting that. That's what I'm going to say, Mr. Mister. So I want to thank everybody for joining us. Thank you for all of the comments. I'm so looking forward to going into season 6. I want to thank Twins for taking this journey with me, and I look forward to hearing about all of your, not Twins, but all of our audience relationship successes, and even some of the failures, because I think that the key is to learn from our failures so that they can one day become successes. So I want to thank all of you. Have a good night. I will see you next week. Good night. Bye.
Good night.
Bye.